Welcome to Firewall Analyzer's free training part 2. We are going to start by addressing an important question: why log monitoring is essential and why should you choose Firewall Analyzer? We'll then move on to cover the basics of Firewall Analyzer, including how to fetch firewall logs, the types of report it generates. After that, we'll take a closer look at different types of reports like the VPN reports, traffic reports, security reports, and then we'll talk about custom and search reports. Lastly, we'll wrap up by exploring the alarm notification features and how to configure alarms for various triggers. And then finally, we'll finish off with a summary. Now let's talk about why log monitoring and why Firewall Analyzer. So the landscape of network security is constantly evolving, and the security teams are working tirelessly to keep up. Whether it's installing IDS, IPS, proxies, or VPNs alongside firewalls, new security tools are being added all the time. Yet, cybercriminals are adapting and finding new ways to breach networks. This brings us to a very critical realization that simply adding more tools is not enough to safeguard a network from threats. So what we really need is a tool that monitors all our security devices, identifies internal and external threats, and it should do all of this in the real time. So that's where Firewall Analyzer steps in. So Firewall Analyzer is a comprehensive log, policy, and configuration monitoring tool that has a major focus on log analysis. It offers a wide range of features, from generating detailed log reports that can track security and traffic logs. It provides real-time alarm notifications and management feature for security and bandwidth anomalies. It also includes inventory reports for each firewall devices added, along with their performance metrics, and offers intelligent rule management for optimizing firewall rules. It also offers configuration monitoring and backup features to ensure that any changes that has been done to your configuration are tracked and the backups can be restored in case of any emergencies. Plus, its compliance management feature helps you spot misconfigurations with pre-built compliance reports. So in today's session, we'll discuss in detail about the log analysis, alarm management, and the inventory reports. Last week, we explored rule management, configuration monitoring and backups, and compliance management in detail. If you have missed that session, we've got you covered. We'll send you a link to the recording post this session so you can always catch up. So now let's look at how to fetch firewall logs into Firewall Analyzer. So the first step is installing the software. You can find the installation requirements on our website, or if you prefer, let us know in the chat and we'll send them to you directly. So once installed, you will need to configure your firewall to send syslogs to the default UDP port 1514. So if this particular port is not available, you can always use an alternative free port. So there are three methods to send syslogs. So the first one is to send them to the default 1514 port. And then the second one is importing the log files. And the third one is manually adding the device without the syslogs. So these steps were covered in detail in last week's session, and you can revisit them through the recording, which we'll send it to you through post this session, or you can always check out our online demo tool at demo.fwanalyzer.com. So once the syslogs are received, Firewall Analyzer begins generating various reports. So security, VPN, and bandwidth report. So based on the data that has been fetched from the firewall devices. Additionally, you can also set up alarm notification to alert you to any unusual network activity. So that is pretty much about how you get started with Firewall Analyzer. And let's talk about the out-of-the-box reports, which includes the VPN report. So this VPN report assists in VPN bandwidth planning and monitoring active sessions. Next, we have the firewall reports, which combine security and traffic data to provide insights into firewall performance. Then we go to the dashboard and the inventory report, which gives you a high-level overview of all connected firewall devices. And then we have the proxy reports, which cover your split proxy servers. You can also create custom reports to suit your specific needs or scheduled reports that can be mailed directly to you or anybody in the organization. So finally, for forensic analysis especially, we have the search report, which allows for raw and aggregated searches. So I'll cover each of these reports in detail. Before that, since the pandemic began in 2020, the shift to hybrid work environment has posed new challenges, particularly in managing VPN security and bandwidth. So throughout today's session, we'll address these challenges wherever applicable, focusing on VPN infrastructure security and bandwidth management. So to make things more relatable, let's take real-life scenarios, for example. For those who have attended a part 1 training, I hope you all remember Jim. But for those who are new here, let me reintroduce Jim. So Jim is an imaginary security admin at a company that has recently adopted a hybrid work model. So Jim's company is facing several network security challenges, and we will explore how Firewall Analyzer helps them tackle these issues, especially when it is related to security and bandwidth in their VPN setup. So for many organizations, VPNs are essential for enabling remote work. However, without proper monitoring, VPN connections can introduce security vulnerabilities. So now, Firewall Analyzer generates comprehensive VPN reports, helping admins to track VPN traffic usage, monitor the active sessions, and identify trends in VPN consumption. So let me show this report to you in the product UI. So for that, let me take you to the product. So we go to the report section. Under that, we'll choose VPN. So here we'll be able to choose a particular firewall or all devices. So for this demonstration, I'm choosing all devices and a time frame of 30 days. So here you can see a lot of information about the VPN session, the top users session, and the VPN report session, in addition to all of the other reports present here. So let me explain each of these with a use case. So going back to the presentation. So let's see how these are going to help Jim. So Jim, in his first task, he needs to identify which users are currently logged into the VPN. For this, he needs to perform an analysis of all users currently logged into the VPN, and this is especially useful to check if the employees are logged into secure connections and to monitor their activity status. So as you can see in this particular image, so this is the dashboard of active VPN session. So here you will see all the currently active users along with the details like the assigned IP address, the start time, the firewall device through which the VPN was accessed, and then we can also see the duration in which the user was accessing this VPN. So Jim can also schedule these reports to be sent to his colleagues or upper management by selecting the schedule icon. So let me show you this in working. So going back to the product, so under active VPN users, currently here in this build, we don't have the data populated, but Jim can schedule this through this schedule icon. So he just have to select the profile name and from to whom it has to be sent to and the message, and then he can click on send. So this will be sent as an email. And he can also have it exported as a PDF or a CSV file or an Excel file. And then once the report is scheduled, it will be sent to the designated email at the mentioned interval. So with this, Jim can conclude his first task. Going back to the second task. So this task wants Jim to submit a detailed VPN activity report on all the users. So this includes both the active and the passive users. So the management also wants this to be sent to them weekly. So let's see how Jim can achieve this using Firewall Analyzer. So going back to the product, so under VPN reports, we go to the VPN section. So here what you see is slightly different from what you saw in the picture earlier. So in the active VPN users slide you saw, we can only see the users who were currently active. But in this VPN sessions report, we can see all the users who have connected and disconnected in the past as well. So right now we do not see any green indication, which means there are no active users currently who have logged in through this particular VPN access. So if there is a green indication, that denotes that that particular user is currently connected, and the gray indication here denotes that the user is inactive, meaning that they have ended the session. So if Jim wants to have this scheduled weekly or sent to anyone as a single email, he can just simply select the respective icons here, and all you have to do is choose a relevant option and schedule it weekly. So this is similar to what I showed you previously. You simply have to select the weekly option. So you'll give a profile name, say test, and you will select all the devices and the widget list. Then click on next. You will select the report type. I'm choosing PDF here, and the number of rows per table that wants to happen. So here you will just select weekly. So I am selecting Tuesday to be the day, and at 11:45, and the report will be generated for the previous week. So here, if you can click this, it will be generated only for the weekdays, which means the working days. And then if you click on next, you will have to give the mail notification. Similar to what we saw earlier, you can just give a mail ID to which it has to be sent to. And using commas, you can add multiple IDs. And for the subject name, I want the report name and the generated time. And if there is any note, you can write the note here and click on save. So this will create. So this, okay, let me give a different test name. Let's test 5. So once I've given all the required details, it will get saved. So as you can see, the test 5, which has been saved here, and it has been created. So that's how Jim will complete his second task. So now going back to the presentation. Now that we saw majority of the employees are joining using the VPN network, it becomes extremely important to plan and allocate the bandwidth consumption. If a single employee consumes all the bandwidth, this would slow down the network for every other employee who's connected and working. Hence, as a third task, Jim has been asked to identify which employee access the VPN most and also to find the usage trend. This means the organization wants more details on the VPN user activity and the connection trends. And they want this to be scheduled on a daily basis. So let's see how Jim is doing that with Firewall Analyzer. So to view this information again in the UI under VPN Reports, we have something called the Top Users report. So here I'm going to choose again for all devices and for the last quarter. Yes. So here you can see how many times they have a user have connected and how much data they have consumed and the duration in which this particular data was consumed. With this, Jim can get a clear understanding of the top users and the bandwidth consumed by them. So Jim can also use different visualizations, that is for the easier understanding of the particular data. Now, if Jim wants to have this as a report, he has to simply click on the mail option. It will be sent to his inbox. If he clicks on one of these formats like the PDF, CSV, or an Excel file, he'll be able to download it. So with that, Jim is again successful in his task. So going back to the presentation, so moving on to the next use case. Jim's fourth task is to identify active VPN connection count for a specific firewall. But why do we need this task? So I'll tell you why. Because most devices offer a limited number of VPN connections and the cost of operation goes higher as the number of connection increases. Hence, it is extremely critical for the organization to plan the VPN connection capacity. So before purchasing more, it which can result in excess IT spend, or if they're going to purchase less, it will result in performance and productivity issues. Hence, Jim needs to monitor the connections for specific firewall. So let me show you in this picture how you can see. So here you can see the dashboard of the active sessions under the VPN overview report. So here you can see there are 10 active sessions for the Cisco ASA firewall. But say if you had only planned for 8 sessions to be the maximum sessions, this become a huge problem because more number of people are connected to the VPN than the planned capacity. So with this particular report, Jim can clearly understand how many connections his company needs to have to ensure a seamless VPN experience. So that concludes his case 4. So again, the next task for Jim is to identify the failed VPN login attempts. In Jim's company, many employees have been constantly complaining that they couldn't log in because of some issue. Jim has been asked to reach out proactively and fix the failed logins to improve productivity. Since people are working from home, there is a risk that the house Wi-Fi's could be taken advantage of, or that someone could use VPN as a loophole to enter the network. So with this information, Jim can see how many times people have tried to log in. If there are any extreme anomalies, he can contact them and ensure the issue is fixed. So let me show you how Jim will do this with the Firewall Analyzer. So under VPN reports, we go to another VPN reports here. So here you can see the user. So here are the top failed VPN users. So these are the users who couldn't log in for some reason. So here you can see the user Mari and Rahul have 207 hits. So Jim can contact them directly and help them with the issue and make sure it is sorted for others too. Or if this is unexpected, then Jim can also investigate if there are any security concerns and rectify the same to safeguard his organization's network. So with this particular VPN report, Jim concludes his 5th task as well. So let's look at Jim's next task. So from the previous cases, we came to understand that many employees are accessing the company's network through VPN. So this time, he has been tasked with getting a daily, weekly, and monthly trend report on all active connections, because it is important for the company to identify which are the busiest hours and the leanest hours so that they can plan their VPN infrastructure accordingly. So let's see how Jim gets these trend reports with Firewall Analyzer. So going back to the UI, under VPN reports, we'll scroll down and select the VPN trend report. So here you get the data for the last 24 hours, 7 days, and then we have for 30 days, and for the last particular year's VPN trend. So with this, Jim can clearly identify the VPN request trends. So for example, in the 24-hour trend, if you can see, you see a spike here, and then the number gradually goes down to 2, and again, there is a spike at 10 a.m. So one of the reasons could be 10 a.m. could be the login time of the employees. So being the login and logout timing of the employees, there could be a spike in this particular VPN trend. But if there are spikes on unexpected period of time, then Jim can further investigate. So by understanding these trends on a monthly basis, Jim's company can plan capacity accordingly so that no one will be forced out of the VPN network. So with that, Jim's task and VPN reports come to an end. I hope you were all able to get an idea of the VPN reports in Firewall Analyzer. So now, going back to the next slide on the presentation, after VPN reports, we have the firewall reports. So firewall reports can be classified into 2. The first one is what you're seeing now, is a security analytics report. And the next one is a traffic analytics report. So firstly, I covered the security analytics report in detail. So let's discuss why security analytics is important in this era of hybrid work culture or work from anywhere culture. So far, employees have relied on office networks like the security devices, and there have been strict adherence to security policies for protection. So even when attackers attempted to breach the network, there was a combination of proactive security monitoring, and the IT admins were swift with their remediation, which ensured that the enterprise level security stayed safe. However, with the rise of the remote work and the work from anywhere policy, this protection has definitely weakened. Hackers have adapted quickly, targeting more remote work employees as they are vulnerable to gain access to critical enterprise data. Therefore, it has been crucial to monitor security logs for any anomalies continuously or disturbances. Firewall Analyzer offers comprehensive security reports, including attack and virus reports, insights into top security events, and detection of any irregularities. So this particular report also highlights the top spam generators, and it also tracks the failed login attempts for an easier review for all the security admins. So let's first explore how this appears in the product UI. First, I'll guide you back to the product. Here under reports, we were in the VPN report section. Now we'll go to the firewall report section. So let me give it a minute to load. Yes. So now I'm going to pull data for all of my devices. Yes. And then for the past quarter, the time frame is going to be the past quarter. So as mentioned earlier, firewall reports include both traffic reports and security details. Now that we are handling security analytics, we'll scroll down and we'll find the security reports. So for security report, firstly, we have an overview report. This is your overview report, along with which we'll have the virus report, attack report, spam report, and even trend reports. So these reports help you understand what security issues are happening, which destination or host is affected, or if there is any specific IP address or a protocol that is being used for an attack. So all of these information will be available in these security reports. So let me take you back to the presentation to show you a use case. Yes. So Jim's company has seen an increase in attacks, especially since no longer employees are working only from the office. This has raised the company's network security risk. So Jim's company needs to know which protocol hackers are using to get in. So which is the most used protocol that hackers are being using. They want him to create a list of these attacks so that they can take steps to prevent them. So now let's look at how Jim identifies this using Firewall Analyzer. For the same thing, I'm going back to the security report. And under the security report, I'm going to select the attack report. So let me give it a minute to load. Yes. So here again, I've chosen it for all devices for the last quarter, and the data is being pulled up. You have this data, you scroll down and you will see the top attackers, top targets, and the top protocols used by the attacks. So here you'll get a clear understanding of which protocol is being used to mount the most number of attacks. So here in the top protocols list, we can see that NetBIOS NS protocol is being used by the hackers for 1,224 attempts to get into the network. So to get more information, Jim can just simply click on that and he will be taken to a detailed window where all the data related to this particular attack will be drilled down and be available to you. So this is the window that you can see. So with this data, Jim can have a clear understanding about what protocols are being used by hackers or attackers to mount these attacks, which will be beneficial for carrying out any countermeasures in the future. So this is a use case for security reports. Now it's time to discuss the traffic reports. So which is the second part of our firewall reports. So this section provides detailed traffic usage reports for various protocols, applications, cloud services, as well as internet and intranet traffic. So we can also find the trend reports for different traffic and events. So let's check this out in the product UI. So I'll take you to the product, we'll scroll up and we'll find the traffic reports. So click on it, yes. When you have all the traffic data, and in addition to the traffic data, you can see the top posts that are sent and received. You have the top protocols that were sent and the top protocols received, and all the information that will be required about the traffic information you can be seen here. So in addition to all of this, we can also find different other protocols information about the protocol usage report here. We have a separate report section for separate usages. So we also have the internet and intranet reports. We have the intranet report and then we have the internet report. Similarly, we also have the web usage, mail usage, FTP usage reports. So if we can go to the mail usage report. So here you can see, sorry. So once you have all the data populated, you can see all the reports that are being generated here. So now going back to the traffic reports, if you can scroll down to the top users reports. So if you're going to scroll down to the top users report, yes, here you can see. So here Jim can easily identify if there are any traffic issues or if any specific user is consuming all of the bandwidth. He can also find out how much traffic is consumed by certain users. With this, Jim can understand which user is consuming the most data. So if any of this is out of ordinary, he can directly contact the user and understand why that usage has spiked during this particular period. And with this particular report, we are concluding the traffic analytics. So now let's go back to the presentation. And the next one we have is the dashboard and the inventory report. So the dashboard gives you a summary of everything, including an overview of the firewall traffic, security stats, and system performance. So you'll also find a live traffic report that shows real-time data from each firewall. Additionally, we also have the VPN reports that list active VPN users and their usage details. So you can also see the information about users, firewall rules, cloud services, and an overview of all the rules along with the users and the cloud services that they are accessing. So let me guide you through the product and show you how this particular dashboard works. To get to the dashboard, just click on the dashboard here. So in the dashboard section, you will find two main reports. So the first one is the firewall summary, which you're looking at, which gives you a quick look at all traffic and security stats, the system performance report, which shows you the shows you the CPU usage, disk space. Let me show you. Yes. And then we have the system performance reports. So here you can see all the CPU utilization, memory utilization, disk space, monitor utilization, DB connection count, and so on. So in addition to these two overview reports, there is a live traffic report that displays real-time traffic data. And then we have the cloud control dashboard, and then we have the users dashboard. And then we have the VPN dashboard, where you can see all the options for rule management, security details, standards, and more. So here we have the security details dashboard, and then we have the standards dashboard. So now let me show you how to create a custom dashboard that can suit your organization's need. So simply click on custom dashboard and we'll add a new one. So new dashboard. So I'm giving the thing as new 2 and I'm clicking on next. And I'm going to just select some firewall widgets. I'm just randomly selecting a few firewall widgets. And then I'm going to click on next. Then I'm going to select users. Say I'm choosing some admin level users and an operator level user. So say for this, choosing, and I'm creating a dashboard. So just like that, you can have a custom dashboard created. And with the custom dashboard, you can have just the widgets that is required for your particular organization, which can be viewed under a single window. So next we have the inventory reports. So this report provides information about devices, showing each firewall device configured in your system. And then all the interfaces that are connected to your configured firewall device that can also be seen here, along with the users, device rules, etc. So to access the inventory report, again, click on inventory. Here you can see a list of devices configured in the Firewall Analyzer. It can include all the interfaces connected to the configured firewall devices, the users who have generated traffic through this, and then we have the Cloud Services tab. We can see all the cloud services that were used in this particular Firewall Analyzer. And finally, we can see the Rules tab. So used rules. So these are the rules that have been triggered in this specific firewall. So now let's move on to the next part of the presentation. So where we have another use case. In Jim's company, there have been several attacks coming through a single firewall. So Jim needs to gather all the information about these attacks originating from that specific firewall. So to do this, I'll take you back to the product. First, let's go to the inventory and to the devices. So let's say these attacks are coming from a particular FortiGate firewall. So by selecting that firewall and I'm choosing the time frame to be the last 90 days, you can see an overview and summary of its performance. You will also be able to examine the bandwidth used by this firewall. And then you can see the top 10 host destinations, protocol groups, external sites, and the conversations here in the top 10 list. Additionally, you can view the allowed and denied sites here. And then we have the applications tab. So you can see all the applications that are here in use along with the rules. So you can see the trend, usage trend of the firewall rules, allowed rules, denied rules, and unused rules. And then we have the security information. And finally, we have details about the VPN. So in this list of tabs, let's particularly look at the security section. Here, you can find a list of the most common attacks, the hosts that have been denied access, the top denied destinations, as well as information about spam and denied user logins. With this information, Jim can see where an attack started, where it is happening, and which IP address is having the problems. So this allows him to take proactive steps to address these issues. Therefore, Jim completes his task. Now, next we look at the firewall analyzer's capability of monitoring the SQUID proxy servers and their syslogs. So with SQUID proxy servers, we can currently monitor and generate URL reports, top users reports, website detail reports, and proxy usage report. So now let's look at a use case for proxy reports. Suppose Jim has been asked to check if there are any proxy attacks happening in the system. If so, they want to find out the source of these attacks. So let me quickly take you back to the product. And to access the relevant information for the proxy report, we'll go to reports. Under reports, we'll go to proxy reports. And After fetching the data, the Firewall Analyzer will automatically recognize the proxy server and generate the necessary reports. So for any proxy device, you can view the URL report, is what you're seeing now. You can see the proxy usage report, website details reports, and the top users report or the top talkers report. To help Jim with this particular task, let's check the website details report. So this report provides detailed information about all the proxy virus attacks that have occurred, including the host details, the number of attacks, and the hit percentages. So once Jim reviews this information, so let me show you the proxy virus report. So here it provides detailed information about all the viruses that have been attacked, and the number of attacks and the hit percentages. Once Jim reviews this information, he can block the offending host or quarantine the specific destination so that he can prevent the future attacks. So besides the proxy report, we also have a country report. So this report shows you which countries have received traffic in the last 30 days. So this is a today time frame, and we're going to change it to last 30 days. Yes. And through which firewall that traffic has passed. So here I have chosen all devices. So you can choose a preferred device. Also in the widget type, you can choose a criteria to which you require the information. So currently I've chosen bandwidth usage by countries. So you can also choose top denied countries or top spam generating countries. So if you prefer, you can view this data in table format as well. So under type option, just switch to table view. So here you will be able to see all these information clearly. So apart from country reports, recently we have enhanced the task audit feature. So here I am choosing the time frame. Give me a minute. So let me choose from say March 12 to today. And if I'm giving submit, here is a detailed task audit report that has logged all task level changes and can be viewed based on the security admin's required time frame. So this is a task audit report. So now going back to the presentation. Next, we have the custom reports. So here Jim has been tasked to find out which users have logged in through VPN, but he wants to exclude one particular C-level executive from the report. So we'll see how Jim can create this custom report using Firewall Analyzer. So going back under reports, we're going to choose custom report. And you can see all the reports that has already been created. So to add a new one, we're creating a new report. So I'm giving the profile name as C-level demo, just for example. And then I am choosing all the devices, or you can always choose only the devices that is required to you. Here I'm going with all the devices. Since we want to exclude a particular executive, I'll check the filter option and I'm going to add a filter. So I click on add and I'll give the filter name. Say for example, I'm giving it as C-level exclude filter. So in the filter type, I'm going to choose it as exclude filter. This means anything I enter here will be left out of the report. So now I do not want to exclude by the protocols because I have no data on them. So now I have the data on the IP address or the IP range of that particular executive. So I'm going to choose the exclude the following IP address. And then I'm going to enter the IP address. For now, I'm just entering a sample IP address. I think this should do. So this IP address, let's say, for example, it is associated with that executive. After adding this IP address, I just click on OK. So here you can see the exclude filter added here. So the filter I just created will appear here, and I can modify it later if needed by using the edit option. So you can choose to add an include filter if that is going to serve your report's purpose. Then we have the data points or the widgets. So you can select from the existing list, or you can always customize it from the given options. Sorry, always customize it according to your preference. So let me show you how to customize that. So add a report. So again, I'm giving a report name, say for example, say demo, and I'm going to. So for now, let me choose the display settings. So graph and table. And then in the table settings, I just want the source and then the user, the destination, and the protocol. And I want the report based on VPN. Let me check it again. So once that is done, it will be added here. So now I can also customize the widgets according to my requirements. Say, for example, if I need the traffic report, protocol usage report, and whatever reports that is required. So, and then once we give the PDF and the number of rows per table, and then we also have to give the time frame which is required. So now this custom report will be listed in the widget section. Once I've entered the other necessary information, I can set up the report to receive the scheduled mails after specifying the recurring time frame and the email details. So here again, I'll give the email details that has to be sent to the specific person. I can give the subject name and then I'll click on save. So this new VPN report I created, then it will be added to the list of custom reports available. Say for example, let me just check. So here we just created a new report. So C-level demo was a report that was created. So this is how you create a custom report. So now going back to the presentation. Next we look at the search report. So the Firewall Analyzer has two types of searches. The first is the aggregated logs, which will provide information based on specific criteria over a period of time. The second one is a raw search. This will provide forensic log analysis with multiple activities. So let's consider a use case for these reports. So suppose we have a user who is unknown but is consuming all the bandwidth. So Jim has been asked to generate a report on exactly how much bandwidth this unknown user is consuming and various other details about him. So for this, let me take you back to the product. And here under search, I'll go to aggregated search. And here I will choose, here I've chosen all the devices. So you can choose only the devices that is required for you. And in the protocol, I'm just going to give it as user. And user is, say we knew the user was unknown. And then I'm clicking on generate. So we give it a minute to generate. Yes. Yes. So yes. So this aggregated search report will reveal how much bandwidth this user has consumed along with other relevant details. So you will find the application details. So the conversation details, let me show you. All of these details for this particular user will be available here. So you can see what are the rules triggered here and the spam details. We have the denied categories, even summary reports. And along with this, we also have a host traffic details, conversation details, and the VPN usage report. So with this, Jim can successfully complete his particular task. So in addition to this, we have another use case for raw search. So let's say there have been numerous attacks on Jim's network with many employees working from home. The network is especially vulnerable to attacks. Jim has been asked to with identifying all the virus attacks occurring in this system. So I'll demonstrate how Jim identifies this using Firewall Analyzer's raw search function. So to access this, go to search and click on raw search. So for our requirement, I will select the raw virus in attack logs. So I deselect everything else and I criteria as match all of the following. And here for the protocol, I'm going to choose attack. And what I know is this attack isn't null. So this is the criteria I'm going to give. And here you can see the list of all the virus attacks that have occurred in the network, along with raw logs of the specific events responsible for these attacks. So once the issues are identified, if Jim wants to check the details, he can do that by clicking on a particular log and he can see all the underlying data which is useful for forensic analysis. So now we have come to the final section of this webinar. Going back to the presentation, the final section of the webinar is alarm management and notification. So this is a highly beneficial feature as it helps you identify security events in real time. In Firewall Analyzer, we can configure three types of alarm profiles. The normal alert, which is a real-time alert for a specific activity. The anomaly alert, which is used when you want to notify about an event over a period of time. And finally, the threshold or the bandwidth alert. So this notifies you when a specific bandwidth threshold is crossed. So you can view all the alarms in the alarm section of the product UI itself, and all these alerts can be notified directly through an email, SMS, or you can configure the tool to run a script when a particular alarm violation occurs. So in addition to these three, we also have several other options such as web alarms and the ability to integrate with other tools like ServiceNow, Service Desk Plus. So I'll show this to all of you in the demo. So for this, let me take you back to the product and we're going to go to the alarm section. So simply click on alarm and here you can see all the alarms that have been triggered in the tool. You get to see the details of the alarms based on their similarity. So here you can see that the critical alarms has been color coded as red. So usually when there are multiple alarms, we have different color codes for each of them. So to show that classification, let me take you to our free online demo setup. This is a free online demo setup. Everyone can access this through demo.fwanalyzer.com, where you can try most of the features of Firewall Analyzer for free. So here I'm logging in. I'll give it a minute to load. Here in the alarms tab, I'm going to alarms. So as you can see here, the alarms are color coded. So red denotes critical, orange denotes trouble, yellow denotes trouble. These are for easier identification. And here yellow denotes attention and the purple denotes service down. So as you can see, we do not have any alarm raised for attention or service down. If at all it has been raised, it would be color coded in yellow and purple. So now if going back to the original product. So yes. So now if you want to be notified about these alarms through any specific method, you can add that under the notification templates. So under settings, we go to others and in the others tab, we select notification templates. So here you can see, so this is a template name. So here you can always add a new template. So let me show you a use case for alarm profile. So let's say that a company following the hybrid work model, just like gyms, is experiencing significant ARP attacks. So large number of ARP attacks are happening and the company wants Jim to identify these attacks at their very inception. Hence, they have asked Jim to set an alarm notification when 5 ARP attacks occur within the span of 10 minutes. So let's see how Jim uses Firewall Analyzer to create this unique alarm profile. So to create that, we'll go to settings. In others, we'll go to alarm profiles. And then to create an alarm profile, we'll just click on add. Since this is a specific alarm profile, We'll first give a name of the profile. Say, for example, we'll give it as a ARP alarm 2. And I'm going to go with this as a normal alert. And I'm going to apply this to all the devices. You can select the devices that is required for you. Next, I'm going to choose a custom alert criteria. And I'm going to set it to match all of the following. And now under the severity tab, I'm going to select virus or attack. Say here we have the virus or attack contains ARP. So the priority is critical and configure it to alert every 5 minutes for the events every 5 events generated in 10 minutes. So I'm assigning an owner and I'm applying the threshold. And then I'm going to choose in notification templates. For all templates, say a web alarm, and then I'm going to save this. So as you can see, we just created an ARP alarm 2 under the alarm profiles. So once you hit save, the ARP alarm will be added here. So if you do not want to use this alarm anymore, you can just switch it off. So the alarm profile will be disabled. So let me take you back to the deck to consider a final use case. So now let's say it has been noted that a specific user has been consuming a large portion of the bandwidth and VPN bandwidth availability is constrained due to the limited resources with many employees using it. So Jim has been assigned the task to trigger an alarm notification if a user, say for example, if the user is named John, if he is consuming more than 1 GB of data in 1 hour for using an application like YouTube, where if he is binge watching movies, the company wants to restrict John's usage of YouTube. So they ask Jim to set an alarm profile to monitor this threshold and trigger an alert when it is crossed. So now Jim has to go back to Firewall Analyzer and configure this particular unique alert. So let me take you back to the product. And again, same way, in the other tab, we'll go to alarm profile. So once you give me a second. So once you are into the tab, I think it is my internet. Just give me a second. All right, let me see if I can show you this in the demo setup. So on the settings, we have the alarm profiles. Yes. So here again, if we're going to add. So again, similarly, we're going to add a profile name, say John Alert 3. And here it is an anomaly alert. Since this alert is based on a period of time, I've chosen an anomaly alert. And then I'm going to select a predefined traffic report. And I'm going to filter it by user is John. And the application is YouTube. If needed, you can also create custom reports based on the source and the destination country. So here I'm going to set the threshold details. So in a period of 1 hour of total traffic, if he is exceeding 1 GB, then an alert should be triggered. So the alert will be designated to the main admin. So since this is a demo setup, we do not have the admin's name here. So once you assign the owner, and on the first occurrence of this violation, you will be notified. Similarly, for the template, you can choose any template and you can choose a template name. And then you can click on save. So this, since it's a demo setup, this is not, it has not been displayed. So once you click on save, you can see it listed under this alarm profiles. Similarly, you can edit it later or have it sent to you in a PDF, or again disable the alarm profile if that is required. So in case you don't want this alert to be triggered for a certain period, like if John is working on a research task that actually demands YouTube consumption, then you can easily disable the report to avoid any false positives. So you just have to switch off this toggle. So that is pretty much about the alarm management feature. So Firewall Analyzer is a policy configuration monitoring tool. It helps you identify policy anomalies, unused rules and objects. It also enables in-depth rule impact analysis for any proposed new rule, helping optimize firewall performance. And it has out-of-the-box compliance reports for SANS, PCI DSS, NIST, ISO, etc. And these features were covered in the previous session. And today, we looked at the VPN reports, security and traffic analytics, and how such reports can help you perform forensic log analysis. Lastly, we explored how to create alarm profiles for various violations in your network. So next on the slide, you have the basic information on how to contact us. You can reach us through email at fwanalyzer_support@manageengine.com, or if you wish to talk to us, you can call the number shown on the screen. In addition, we have a forum where network admins discuss their issues and the technicians answer them. This is called Pitstop, and it is available at pitstop.manageengine.com. It's common for all ManageEngine products, and under Firewall Analyzer section, you can see all the discussions respected to Firewall Analyzer happening. Finally, we also have an exhaustive help documentation on our website. If there is a feature you want to know more about or want to understand anything in detail, you can look us up at help/index.html under Firewall Analyzer. If you still have any questions, this is a gentle reminder to type your questions in the Q&A section, and we'll have it answered right away by our panelist. So we'll also be sharing this presentation for the session, so you will have all of this information in your email. So we are also listed on G2 and Capterra, and if you're an evaluator or an existing customer who tuned in to see the new features released in Firewall Analyzer, I request you to share your feedback about the product on both or either of these platforms. As a token of thank you for your time and effort, we will be giving you a $25 gift card. And if you'd like to learn more about VPN and get the best of our VPN monitoring features, we have several ebooks available on our website. You can download these for free from our website as well. So we have also developed a mobile app available on both Play Store and App Store that you can connect to your desktop setup for dashboard access to your network security overview. This means you no longer need to carry your laptop every time you're going to leave the office. Finally, we have a disclaimer regarding the customer security. With respect to customer security and data protection, ManageEngine assures that we take customer security and data privacy very seriously. We make sure that all customer data stays protected at all costs. So that brings me to the end of this particular session. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope this training was useful and that you learned something new.